Yo, how's it going everyone? This is Cause Agent Kota speaking, and welcome to the next 5-minute review, more or less, of a game called Paper Mario, the Origami King. When it comes to this game, there is quite a lot to talk about, so bear with me. So let's get started. The story/dialogue when it comes to the game, trying to figure out what/why the Origami King is doing what they are doing, is pretty incredible. It definitely kept me wanting to see why he was doing, why he was being evil, essentially. I thought it was pretty amazing, and the characters that you run into slash find and help while you're in your travel is really funny to see what it is that they're saying. The collectibles in the game are fantastic. I love the amount of collectibles that they had when it comes to just searching around the world. I won't say what they are specifically, but just in general, the amount of different things that you can find throughout the world was really cool. Sometimes super frustrating, but I mean, what game could it possibly be if you're not going to get frustrated with it in some way? We'll come back to that. The trinkets that you can actually use throughout the game are really cool. There's a toad that you eventually find that will sell you some trinkets that would help you when it comes to either giving you extra health, giving you more time to fight. Things like that are actually really cool because they also sell you trinkets that help you in the overworld, like finding toads or finding invisible blocks, which I think was really cool. The amount of trophies that you can find that will explain a little bit more about the game is really cool in my opinion. There isn't really much to say without having to go into spoiler territory, but either way, the trophies that you can find is pretty generic in a sense, but I don't know, I just found it quite funny to read some of the things that you get to read from said trophies. The helpers that you find in the different lands that you go into is pretty cool, depending on how you look at it, I guess you can say. Again, the things that they say, the things that they can do, I thought was pretty unique. You don't actually get helpers that help you throughout, I guess you can say, the entirety of the game, but just the ones that you can find are pretty neat. There is a section of the game that gets pretty dark, which I personally would not have expected, but I thought was a really nice touch. That being said, the helpers don't actually help all that much when it comes to battle. They sort of do help, but I went into the game super blind, and I'm just like, yeah, I called that right, basically, which, you know, I guess you can say, as far as playing Paper Mario games thus far, I've played them all other than Sticker Star for the 3DS. I hit the nail on the head pretty much, so I brushed it off. I wasn't expecting much from them, but otherwise, pretty cool. The environment slash fast travel, like the things that you can see, the things that you can interact with, how things interact with you, the enemies that you find, it's so cool. You can either choose to fight them or choose to completely skip them, depending on what your specific goal is. I just thought was really cool. The number of different ways that you can fast travel was also pretty neat. I myself did not use many of them, or at all, mainly due to I just liked walking around and, just watching. Not only that, the overworld, again, has collectibles that you can find, so you won't actually be able to find them if you're just fast traveling everywhere, but that's just how I played. Thought was really cool. The music was fantastic, as usual. I mean, it's a Nintendo game. The mechanics were unique at first, which I thought was really cool. But what made the mechanics really awesome was the bosses and slash the boss fights, I guess you can say. The amount of different bosses that you get to fight throughout the entire game is really awesome. I definitely is the thing that stood out the most when it comes to the game, and obviously when it comes to the game in itself, that's the selling point. I would not say the selling point would be the characters. It would be more of the boss fights, if for whatever reason anyone would think otherwise. It was just super unique. It did not feel repetitive at all. And believe it or not, just confused me right up until the very last boss. That the fighting mechanics just, it got me so scrambled up that like, it definitely made the game super frustrating at points, but still extremely awesome. Especially when a game's mechanics just confuse you all the way up to the end. I figured, kind of like with any other game, after a few hours of playing it, you get a touch of what they want you to do, and you can just figure it all out rather quickly. Not with this game. I'm also not very good with puzzles, so technically the fighting mechanics themselves are puzzle-like. So again, it just confused the hell out of me, and oof, frustrating, but in my opinion, a good thing if the mechanics of a fight can confuse you that much. That being said, there is something that you can find in the game. I myself cannot remember when I got it, or even where, wink wink, but there is something that you can use that will help you with said fights. So if you're having so much trouble when it comes to the game, there is something in the game that will make the fighting mechanics much easier. I myself never used it, so I can't tell you how well it works, but according to the description, it does the fighting for you? Question mark? I don't know. I'm sure someone will end up telling me otherwise, but yeah, so even though the mechanics for me, it made it confusing right up until the very end, don't feel afraid of maybe not understanding how to play the game just due to the mechanics of how you fight. Again, there is an item that will help you, and you can easily use that to get through the game rather easily. That being said, when it comes to the bad, the only bad thing about this game is it's not the original Paper Mario games, I guess. Usually would be Paper Mario 64 or Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door. It's not those games where you get partners, you can use them to solve puzzles and get them stronger. But to me, I overlooked that due to the fact that that's not what Paper Mario has been for some time now. So if you're wanting to go into this game thinking, oh, maybe they went back to their roots, no, that's definitely a hard no. Don't even try and waste your time trying to think maybe they're doing something different. They're just not. They're just continuing what Paper Mario games has been probably since the 3DS, maybe even earlier than that. I know Super Paper Mario had huge traces of what these games are now, but I can't really say for sure since I myself have not played either of those three games in so long. But yeah, this game does have traces of other games, like for instance, it has a cheering crowd in the background that you can actually use to your advantage, kind of like in Thousand Year Door. I do remember there's a cheering crowd in that game. I don't know how they are utilized, or if they're utilized at all, other than for just for a spectacle reason. In this game, you can use the crowd to help you in fights, so they will help you when it comes to giving you items or giving you health, whatnot. There is traces of Color Splash, so Paper Mario Color Splash for the Wii U, where In that game, you would use paint in order to paint up the black and white spots that are in the game, but in this game you use the confetti in order to fill in the holes. On top of that, they utilize that with, again, collectibles, where if you fill in all of the holes, you can get 100% in the area that you are currently in. That would then reward you with something towards the end. Depending if you want to 100% the game or not. The game is still very long. My playthrough was around like 50 hours, somewhere along that line, and I didn't do 100%, mainly because some of the trophies that you can get for me would just be super confusing, and I just wouldn't be able to do it. I would have to test out the item that they give you that would help you with the fighting mechanics to see if they would work. I specifically don't believe it would, due to the circumstance that you are in. So again, that being said, like, the amount of content that this game gives is way, way, way higher than the Color Splash for the Wii U that had been out before this one. Is so much higher. The way they just utilize rewarding the player for actually finding things is, for my opinion, a really, really good game. Again, the standout is the story / dialogue as to how you interact with the game / why you are doing what you are doing, trying to figure out what's happening. The fighting mechanics is really awesome. It does get repetitive when it comes to just fighting in general other enemies, but the way they use those fighting mechanics within the bosses is really cool. And the environments, like, you go through so many different environments, like grassland, desert, water. It's just amazing. And there's still quite a lot that I did not mention, but is this game worth playing? In my opinion, it is. And if you feel bad for this game not being what other Paper Mario games could have been, checking out a playthrough is definitely recommended, just so you can continue following along with the story. So if they ever do happen to come back to said previous games, you will know what's been happening thus far, even though, again, none of the Paper Marios, from what I can tell, actually, you know, go from one game to another to another. It's mainly their own little world, but again, that's my opinion. Definitely suggest you play this if you are a Paper Mario fan and you're not expecting what other games have been doing previously, and you will have a ton of fun as long as you are open-minded. Otherwise, don't even bother playing it and just watch somebody else. And that being said, I am done. Hopefully you guys enjoyed either my playthrough of the game, the review of the game, or when the playthrough will eventually be released on YouTube. Yeah, I had a blast. Hope you do too. Let me know how wrong I am if you managed to play the game because of this review and how much you disliked it, or, you know, in the other hand, if you did end up buying it and enjoying it. Let me know what it is you enjoyed the most, and hope to see you in the next one. Take care.